on a 6-bolt fan drive with no plugs on the back side of the inner shiv. First, we're going to start off by removing the vent plug on the back side. Then we're going to remove the pusher bolt and insert it into where the vent goes. This will pull back the inner shiv, but first we need to relieve the hydraulic pressure. To do this, we're going to find the valve on the left-hand rear of the engine compartment. We're going to loosen up the lock nut and turn the set screw out 2 revolutions. After you have removed the hydraulic pressure, come back to your pusher bolt and turn it in until the inside shiv quits moving. Once you have done this, your belt will be loose and you can then remove the 6 bolts from the outer shiv. After you have removed the outer shiv, you can go ahead and pull the belt off and let it rest. Once you have removed the outside shiv and the belt, we're going to need to remove 2 plugs. The first one is in the center of the shaft. The second one is on the inner shiv in the middle. Once we have removed these and we're actually pumping grease, you're going to notice that oil is running out of this plug. Go ahead and let it drain into a container. After you have removed the 2 plugs, we then need to add a greaser to the center shaft. Make sure and put a bucket underneath the shiv. Once we start greasing and oil starts to come out of this hole, we're going to go ahead and let the oil keep coming out until we see grease. If it has been greased before, it may not have oil in it. As you can see, we have pumped a majority of the oil out, and you can see the corn head grease coming out. We can go ahead and remove the grease fitting and install both of our plugs. Once we have reinstalled the 2 plugs into the drive, we're going to go ahead and grease the driven. We need to remove a plug from the front side of the driven shaft and then remove one of the 2 plugs on the back side. This will also be filled with oil. Keep pushing the oil out until you get grease. Once you have removed one of the back plugs and installed the grease fitting in the front shaft, you can go ahead and pump corn head grease. If it has never been greased before, you will get oil out of this. Keep pumping until it fills with grease. Once you have gotten the grease out, you can go ahead, clean it up, and reinstall your plug in the back. Remove the grease fitting from the front and reinstall the plug. Once you have reinstalled both the plugs, reinstall the belt onto the shaft. Reinstall the outer shiv with 6 bolts. Tightening these bolts evenly while constantly rotating the belt to make sure you are not pinching the belt. Torque these to 27 foot-pounds. After you've done that, remove your pusher bolt and reinstall your vent plug. Then come back and retighten the set screw on the bleeder valve. Lastly, we're just going to double check everything. Make sure we have our vent plug in, our pusher bolt back in its location. Come back to the bleeder screw and make sure it's locked down with a jam nut. Then come back, make sure your 6 bolts have been torqued to 27 foot-pounds. After this is done, you should be able to rotate the belt making sure that it is loose. Once you start the tractor, it will automatically tension.